Imagine for a moment being by the bedside of someone you deeply care about, someone nearing the end of their journey. The air is thick with unspoken emotions, and every word feels incredibly weighty. You desperately want to offer comfort, to show your love. But the words, they just don't seem to come easily. Or perhaps, worse, you've uttered something with the very best of intentions, only to see a flicker of pain cross their face, realizing too late that your words, though meant kindly, missed the mark entirely. It's a painful reality, isn't it? This fear of saying the wrong thing when it matters most, when every moment is so precious. We all want to be a source of solace, not an additional burden. But sometimes, without realizing it, our well-meaning words can create a distance, or even cause distress. The secret isn't about having all the right answers, or a perfect script for what to say. Sometimes, it's far more about understanding what not to say. In this video, we'll uncover 7 common phrases that, despite being well-meaning, can deeply hurt or isolate someone facing their final days, and we'll explore gentler, more compassionate ways to be present, and make sure you stay with me until the very end, because I'll share something truly surprising that could change how you approach these sensitive conversations forever. Let's dive right into the first phrase we often mistakenly use, one that seems to bubble up from a place of desperate hope, but can often land with a thud telling someone, "You'll be fine," or "Don't worry, you'll beat this." It's a natural human instinct to want to reassure, to paint a picture of recovery, especially when we're feeling helpless. We say it because we want them to feel better, or perhaps because we want ourselves to feel better about the situation. But think about it from their perspective. They are living a very different reality. They know, on a profound level, that they may not be fine, that they may not beat this. When we offer false reassurance, we are inadvertently denying their reality, shutting down any opportunity for them to talk about their fears, their pain, or their acceptance of what is happening. It creates a barrier, making them feel like they can't be honest with you about their true feelings, because you're not ready to hear them. Imagine trying to talk about your deepest anxieties, your spiritual questions, or your regrets, only to be met with a cheerful, "Oh, don't be silly. You'll be running marathons again in no time." It feels dismissive, isolating, and can make them feel profoundly alone in their experience. Instead of pushing away their reality, we need to lean into it with them, however uncomfortable that might feel for us. A friend once shared how her beloved husband, in his final weeks, found it exhausting to constantly counter the well-meaning optimism of visitors. He simply wanted to be seen, to be acknowledged in his truth, not to be told a comforting lie. Instead, try saying something like, "I can only imagine how difficult this is for you," or, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm here to listen," or just to be with you. Whatever you need. Moving on to our second phrase to avoid, which can feel like a well-intentioned attempt to find perspective, but can be incredibly painful. "At least you lived a long life," or "You've had a good run." This one often comes from a place of trying to find a silver lining, to remind them of the positives they've experienced. And yes, a long life is a blessing. But when someone is facing the end, hearing this can feel like their current suffering, their current fears, and their current losses are being minimized. It can imply that because they've lived a certain number of years, they should be grateful to die, or that their grief for what they are losing, future moments, experiences, loved ones, is somehow invalid. It doesn't matter if they are 95 or 65. The end of life is still the end of their life, and it comes with profound emotions. They might be grieving unfulfilled dreams, future family milestones they won't see, or simply the very act of living. To dismiss that grief with a reminder of how long they've already lived can make them feel guilty for feeling sad or scared. Someone I knew, still in their late 60s but facing a rapid decline from a terminal illness, was deeply hurt by this comment. They felt their unfulfilled dreams, their plans for retirement, and the simple joys they were looking forward to were being dismissed, as if their life was complete just because they'd reached a certain age. Focus on their present feelings and what truly matters to them in that moment. And that brings us to our third phrase, one that often feels empowering, but can actually be a heavy burden. Don't give up. Keep fighting. We are a culture that celebrates resilience, strength, and battling against the odds. And, for a time, for many illnesses, fighting is exactly what a person needs to hear. But there comes a point, in the terminal stages of an illness, where the concept of fighting becomes counterproductive, even cruel. Dying is not a battle to be won or lost. It is a process. To tell someone to keep fighting when their body is shutting down, when they are exhausted, and when they may be yearning for peace, implies that they are not trying hard enough, that they are somehow failing if they let go. It can induce immense guilt, making them feel like they are letting down their loved ones if they choose to embrace comfort, or simply cease the exhausting struggle. A palliative care nurse once shared that this is one of the most common, yet damaging, things people say. It puts an unfair burden on someone already exhausted, who may be ready to transition from fighting to finding acceptance and peace, instead of demanding continued effort. We need to support their journey, whatever that looks like for them. You might say, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, or we're here for you, no matter what. We just want you to be comfortable. Now that we've gently explored these first three crucial points, let's continue our understanding with more insights into what our loved ones truly need from us in these delicate moments. Moving on to our fourth phrase, one that often comes from a place of wanting to connect and empathize, but can unintentionally miss the mark. I know exactly how you feel. While our intention is to show solidarity and understanding, the truth is, unless you have precisely the same terminal illness and are going through the same experience at the same time, you don't know exactly how they feel, even if you've experienced deep loss or fear. Their unique journey, their body's specific pain, their personal history, and their spiritual beliefs shape their experience of dying in ways that are deeply individual. When we say, I know how you feel, it can inadvertently shift the focus to ourselves, or it can make the dying person feel unheard, as if their unique suffering is being trivialized. Imagine trying to explain a complex, painful physical symptom, only to have someone interject with, "Oh, I had a bad cold last year. I know how you feel." It trivializes their unique suffering and can shut down further honest communication. The truth is, most of us can only imagine how difficult it must be, and that's okay. A more compassionate approach is to acknowledge the enormity of their experience without claiming to fully grasp it. Try saying, "I can only imagine how difficult this must be for you," or "I'm so sorry you're going through this. Please tell me if there's anything I can do to make you more comfortable," or simply, "if you'd like to talk about it." This acknowledges their pain, validates their experience as unique, and opens the door for them to share, rather than implying you've already walked in their shoes. Next, let's consider our fifth phrase, which often stems from a desire to offer spiritual comfort or a sense of order, but can sometimes deeply wound "it's God's will," or "everything happens for a reason." For some, these phrases genuinely bring comfort and peace, especially if they align with their deeply held faith and beliefs. But for others, or for those grappling with immense pain, confusion, or anger, hearing this can feel incredibly dismissive, even judgmental. It can imply that their suffering is somehow deserved, or that they shouldn't question or feel angry about what's happening. It might not align with their personal beliefs, or they might be questioning their faith in this very moment. When someone is in profound pain, whether physical or emotional, simply offering a platitude about divine order can feel like their very real suffering is being swept aside with a philosophical or religious blanket, rather than being truly seen and acknowledged. It can also be a way for us, the healthy, to distance ourselves from the discomfort of their pain by attributing it to a higher power, rather than engaging with the raw emotion. For someone wrestling with why this is happening to them or their family, hearing "it's God's will" can deepen their sense of isolation or even resentment. Instead, offer comfort based on their beliefs if you know them, or simply offer your presence and compassion without explanation. Sometimes, acknowledging the unfairness of life is more comforting than trying to explain it away. You might say, "This is so unfair, and I'm so sorry." Or simply sit in silence, holding their hand, letting them know you are there for them, not for a theological discussion. Our sixth phrase to avoid is another well-meaning one that, paradoxically, can place an enormous burden on the dying person. You need to stay strong for your family. This statement, often uttered out of concern for the loved ones left behind, unfortunately shifts the emotional responsibility onto the person who is dying. They are already navigating their own profound physical and emotional journey. To ask them to manage the grief, fear, or sadness of others, or to put on a brave face for visitors, is an unfair and exhausting request. It denies them the right to be vulnerable, to express their own fear, sadness, or fatigue. They might feel immense guilt if they can't maintain a cheerful facade, or if their pain is too overwhelming to conceal. A hospice patient once confessed how exhausting it was to constantly put on a brave face for visitors, when all they wanted was to simply be themselves, fear and all, without feeling like they were failing their family by showing their true emotions. Instead, the focus should be entirely on their comfort and their needs. You might say, "It's okay to let go, if that's what you need." Or, "How can I support you right now?" Let them lead, and let them know that their primary role is to find peace, not to perform strength for others. Reassure them that their family will be cared for, allowing them to release that heavy burden. Finally, we come to our seventh phrase, one that is often asked with genuine concern, but can be deeply intrusive and premature. Have you made your peace? Or have you said your goodbyes? While these are incredibly important aspects of the end-of-life process for many, asking such direct and profound questions on demand can be a blunt, invasive shock. It assumes that they are ready to discuss these deeply personal and often agonizing topics, and it can feel like you are rushing them, or checking off a list. Making peace, saying goodbyes, and finding resolution are processes, not checkboxes, and they unfold at their own pace. Some people may have done this privately, others may still be struggling, and some may not even be thinking about it in the way we expect. They might be focused on the mundane comfort of a cup of tea, or reminiscing about a happy memory, rather than confronting their impending mortality head-on at that very moment. Sometimes people just want to talk about their favorite TV show or a memory from their childhood, not necessarily confront the biggest, most difficult topics on demand. Instead of a direct inquiry, create an open, loving space for conversation. If they initiate it, you could simply be present. Share a quiet moment, or offer, "Is there anything you'd like to talk about today? I'm here to listen." Always. This gives them the agency to bring up these profound topics when and if they feel ready, without feeling pressured or interrogated. We've covered some really important ground today, haven't we? We've talked about how false assurances like, "You'll be fine," can unintentionally shut down genuine conversation, and how phrases like, "At least you lived a long life," can minimize someone's very real current pain. We've explored the burden placed by "don't give up, keep fighting," and the dismissiveness of "I know exactly how you feel." We've also touched on why "it's God's will" or "everything happens for a reason" can sometimes be more hurtful than helpful, and how telling someone to stay strong for your family adds immense pressure. Finally, we learned about the intrusive nature of asking, "Have you made your peace?" It all comes down to one thing: compassion, listening, and respecting their unique journey. Remember, navigating these conversations is incredibly challenging, and we all make mistakes. There's no perfect way to say goodbye. The key is to approach these moments with an open heart and a willingness to learn, to prioritize their comfort and dignity above all else. And here's the surprising truth I promised you at the beginning. The most profoundly comforting thing you can say and do for someone who is dying often, the most powerful and loving thing you can offer, is nothing at all. It's simply being present, holding a hand, if they invite it, sharing a quiet moment of silence, allowing tears, or even a shared smile over a memory to fill the space. They don't need your words as much as they need your genuine, loving presence. They need to know they are not alone. Your loving presence, free from the need to fix or explain, is the most profound gift you can offer someone who is dying. They may not remember every word you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. Loved, seen, and accepted. Exactly as they are. Right where they are. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you found certain phrases particularly comforting or difficult during these times? Share your experiences respectfully in the comments below. Your insights could help so many others. If you found this video helpful and believe it can make a difference in how we approach these sensitive moments, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our channel reach more people who need this compassionate guidance. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more content focused on living a full, meaningful life at every age and navigating life's challenges with grace and understanding. Remember, every moment we have with our loved ones is precious. Let's strive to make those final moments ones of deep connection, understanding, and unconditional love. Live your best life. Cherish every connection and embrace every moment with wisdom and compassion.